You've faced epic challenges, but are you ready to tackle the toughest bosses of Demon Souls? In this video, we'll delve into the dark depths of this unforgiving world to uncover the secrets behind the 7 most formidable enemies you've ever encountered. From colossal monsters to demonic creatures, each battle is a test of courage and skill. Get ready for an adventure filled with intense emotions and discover if you have what it takes to overcome these deadly challenges. Stay tuned to unravel the mysteries of the 7 toughest bosses of Demon Souls. To create a fair list regarding the criteria for classifying the difficulty of each boss, I attempted to strike a balance from both the perspective of novice and veteran players, aiming to identify bosses that truly pose a significant challenge for the majority, regardless of experience level or approach. Let's see who the toughest contenders are, shall we? Starting off at 7th place, we have the 3rd boss of the First World 1-3, beloved Boletaria. With an epic entrance scene, the Penetrator is an imposing knight clad in magnificent sturdy armor, wielding the game's largest straight sword, the Penetrating Sword. While all of his moves are well telegraphed and the timing for evasion isn't particularly hard to memorize, the problem arises when you miss-time a dodge, typically resulting in being caught in a combo that can easily drain at least half of your health. His most feared move, however, is his piercing attack, where he thrusts his sword into the character's abdomen and sends them flying. If you lack sufficient resilience or if your character is in ghost form with reduced HP, the chances of being hit-killed are significant, especially considering the substantial delay in this particular attack, making it challenging to anticipate the right timing. You can successfully melee Penetrator, but you need patience, a good shield, and a lot of restorative items. The trick is to keep moving and keep your shield up. Try to stay out of range of his sweeping attacks. Some will probably hit you. When they do, back way off and pop some herbs before he gets close again. Always try to stay in a big open area. Don't let him back you up against a wall or into a corner. Watch for his sword to glow for the stabbing attack. When you see this, be sure you are moving sideways and try to stay back. He will always miss as long as you stay moving at a safe distance. This is the key, only attack him right after he makes the stabbing attack. If you try to hit him after any other attack, there is a chance he will quickly switch to the stabbing attack, usually fatal, and you will be too close to get out of the way. In 6th place, Old Hero, located at the end of the Shrine of Storms World 4-2. First of all, and most importantly, take your time. This boss is blind, he has no eyes. He only senses you and moves in the direction he's being attacked from. Otherwise, he'll just wander around and attack random spots if you aren't attacking him. Use this to your advantage and don't rush through the fight. By equipping the Thief's Ring, you can greatly reduce your presence. Keep in mind heavy equip weight can hurt your sneaking skills. With the Thief Ring on, by moving slowly, the boss cannot see you and will wander, striking random spots. When you see him raising his sword to strike a spot, which won't be you if you're sneaking, run up and get in several hits before rolling away and repeating the tactic. It may take a while doing it this way, but rushing him and trying to defeat him with ease simply will not work. If you want to use magic, get behind him, never sprint, cast your orbs. Homing Soul Arrow does an amazing job with him. Once they release, they take out about 1/5 of his health. Then start dodging his attack by rolling. Make sure you're not wearing heavy armor. Then go halfway up the stairs in the back and replenish your magic and health if needed. Rinse and repeat. With a melee strategy, attack from behind him until he stands up and roars. Run away, then attack from behind again and repeat until he is finished. It may seem easy, but facing him in melee is a whole other challenge as he delivers completely different and powerful blows, from wide-ranging attacks to area explosions. Despite most of his moves being slow and predictable, occasionally he surprises with swift strikes catching the player off guard. And if caught off guard, it's a one-hit kill. Every caution is needed with Old Hero, especially because the path to reach this boss is quite tricky, having to redo it entirely each time you die. In 5th place, Tower Knight appears at the end of World 1-2 and is the largest knight in the game. The main objective in this boss fight is to kill the archers shooting from their strategic positions above, then you can attack the armored giant without frustration. Sprint to get behind him and target the knight's ankles. Be careful as he will use his shield and do a large area hit all around him. Keep circling around the back of him if you can with your own shield up. As long as you remain behind him, only his backstep and leap back can damage you. These are his weakest attacks. Eventually, after enough damage is done, he will fall over and you can attack his head for massive damage. Either run forward through his legs or to the side to avoid having him fall on of you. I consider this boss more challenging for beginners due to the puzzle element inserted where the weak point is the head. Sometimes it falls into a position where there is no way to reach the head or even falls on top of the character, and also because the archers disrupt the fight. In fourth place, we have the Armor Spider in World 2 Stofang Tunnel, a giant spider that shoots web and fireballs. The biggest challenge of this fight is adapting to the rhythm imposed by the spider because its attacks are very fast. Upon entering the arena from a distance, web projectiles are launched towards the player, pinning them to the ground, and if you get hit, a second attack is launched, this time with fire. A good shield is recommended in this fight. As you get closer to the spider, the fight becomes easier, being able to hit its claws while avoiding its wide-ranging attacks with its legs until it releases flammable oil on the ground, forcing a retreat and consequently the beginning of the ritual to get close to it again. It's a dangerous fighting dynamic, and any mistake can be fatal. And the third place goes to Old King Allant, who appears at the end of Boletaria in World 1-4. This boss is quite dangerous, especially for beginners who try to attack head-on, because he has a lot of balance or poise, making it difficult to maintain pressure. He has very strong close-range combos and also ranged attacks. The Eternal Warrior's Ring is recommended to help keep up stamina. Purely physical weapons with range, such as spears, work best. Magical damage weapons have little effect. You can also use Turpentine if you have the time. A good shield is highly recommended. He has a unique Soul Sucker attack at melee range which will actually steal one soul level from you, so don't stay too close to him. You should be constantly backing away with your shield raised unless you are good with your dodges. Being close will leave you vulnerable to combo attacks and his Soul Sucker move. When he points his sword straight down into the floor and starts glowing, he is about to execute an area explosion attack. It is possible to outrun, but far better to run up and bash his face in. After you interrupt this attack, immediately roll backwards to avoid his counterattacks. When he raises his sword at an angle, he is about to rush you. Roll aside and he should miss you entirely. As soon as he stops behind you, turn and smack him once before rolling away again. All other attacks do negligible damage and can be safely absorbed by your shield. If you need to heal, the best time to do it is when he is slowly walking. This one is a great boss. And in second place, we have Maneater from World 3-2, located in the Tower of Latria. Meleeing the Maneaters requires strategy, skill, and patience. For beginners, the trick to successful meleeing is to separate the two Maneaters. If you try to melee both at the same time, you will be toast in no time. Immediately upon entering the area, run past Maneater to the platform with a large brazier in the middle. This brazier will shield you from its melee and magic attacks. Most of them anyway. It can and will hit you through it with its ground-based lunging attack, so be careful. You can dodge this reasonably easily, or just keep the central brazier between you and him. The brazier is very helpful in that you can attack almost through the edge of it with some weapons without exposing yourself as much as a direct attack would. The real fun comes when he spawns a second Maneater. The strategy only changes in that you should focus on burning down the one you've been damaging, because trying to split your damage will just lead to your death. Try not to get it so they will start double attacking you. Many players have died from repeated rushes by both Maneaters. Patience is key here. If they both land at the same time and charge the central area with the brazier, it's best to run down the stairs for a minute. This will usually cause one to fly away again, so you can return to the relative safe zone and continue wearing them down. Note that if you've already caught both Maneaters' attention, it may be to your advantage to try to avoid cutting off their tails. As long as one keeps moving, the soul arrow attacks are easily heard and avoided, and a Maneater with its tail cut off will be more eager to mob you and use its melee attacks, including the dreaded pounce. It's a matter of weighing your options. If you can reliably interrupt a Maneater as it starts power boosting, you may prefer having to do that and dodge soul arrows now and then rather than run a greater risk of having two Maneaters attack you at the same time. This is an extremely difficult fight and deserves to be in the top positions of this list. And finally, in first place, we have Flame Lurker from World 2-2 in Stofang Tunnel. I'm sure this boss is one of the worst nightmares for most players. This boss sets a fast-paced rhythm mixing fast close-range attacks with slow medium-distance attacks with furious explosions. In general, stay in front of him. It's much better to deal with the Flame Lurker face-to-face. Often after attacking or being hit, it likes to jump backwards or to either side, so don't be caught off guard and stay in front. The only time you want to be behind him is when you have rolled under him and are attacking. To do this, you need to be flame-resistant and mobile, which means you can roll smoothly. Take one flame-resistant shield, such as the purple flame shield, and a magical melee weapon. A perfect example are the Hands of God, which you can get right before the battle. It is a fist weapon, and you'll need to get up close to attack, but for new players it might be your only option. Make sure you've got a ring of flame resistance too. As for your armor, you can equip the black leather set, or whatever you can get away with before it affects your mobility. All of this gear you can obtain relatively easily. As for the tactics, you need to be defensive the entire time. This means keeping your shield up and on the move constantly, avoiding its attacks whenever possible. You are only attacking him after its one move pounce. When you see him starting to do a big jump, roll forward. You will roll under its jump and will end up behind him, leaving him open to an attack. You should be able to hit him 3 or 4 times with your Hands of God or your preferred magical weapon. Don't deplete all your stamina on the attacks though, you may need to block soon after. You can use this tactic the entire battle, however as its health gets lower it becomes much more aggressive, oftentimes relying more on its pounce attack than anything else and will become brighter with flames. In summary, this boss deserves the first place as it epitomizes the challenging sensation that Souls games offer players in boss fights. When you finally defeat Flame Lurker, the feeling is indescribable. So, that's it folks. I hope you enjoyed our list. Comment below if you agree or disagree and which boss you find most difficult in Demon's Souls. Until next time and stay geek.